Hi, welcome to Plant Pure Kitchen Live. I'm Kim Campbell, and I'm really excited because it's our 5th show, but I have a very special guest. This is my daughter, my youngest of 3. She's my baby. This is Laura Campbell, and she's going to be making pizza with me today, which is my favorite food, right?
Yeah, mine too. I think I eat it maybe 2 or 3 times a week sometimes.
Yeah. So we're going to get started with the pizza recipe because it's a really simple recipe, but there's a couple of tips and tricks that I really want to walk you through. If you're just starting and you're cooking along, I want to show you some things about the oven. You want to get your oven really hot, and I know I told you that it should be about 425 degrees, but you want to get it as hot as it can possibly go, and mine's at 525 degrees right now. Because wood-fired pizza, when you go to a restaurant, their temperature is like 700 to 800 degrees. So you want to get it really, really hot, and you want to keep your pans in the oven for a while and get them warm. So turn your oven on 500 or whatever, the highest that it will go to. Get your pans. I have a stone pan, and I have one in the oven. These really absorb the heat. I know it's really ugly, but I do keep it clean. Put it in the oven, it absorbs heat. You can also use a cast iron pan. If you don't have one, you could just use a pizza pan like this. But in the oven, I have them heating up. And you can see they've been in there for an hour. So if your pizza, I'm sorry. I'm getting directed, and sometimes I don't follow directions. But if you go to 425 degrees, that's okay too. But I like a really hot oven because it cooks it fast and it gets it really nice and crispy. So the best part of this pizza is the sauce.
The cheese. I think it's the cheese. Yeah.
So you want to tell us a little bit about the cheese sauce that you're making?
Yeah. Do you want me to go ahead and start blending it?
Yeah. So Laura's making a sort of a mozzarella style cheese sauce, and I'll go ahead and let you tell them what you're putting in your blender.
So you use some kind of nut. Cashew is usually best, but I found that you can use anything, like walnuts or almonds will also work. So this is...
Really? You use walnuts?
Yeah, I used walnuts last week and it came out...
Did not know that.
Not quite the same, but pretty close. Mm-hmm. So this is, I think, half a cup.
About a half a cup. You could use, if you don't want to use nuts, you could use tofu too. I tried that one time and it works nicely.
And then you have to use some kind of plain milk because I made this last week and I used vanilla oat milk and it wasn't good. It was super sweet. So you just want to make sure it's unsweetened. Soy milk or almond milk will work. Take the measuring cup. Or sorry, note that the recipe.
Oh, you're right. 1 cup.
Hey,
1 cup of milk.
Candace wants to know, do you preheat the pans for an hour at the highest temperature?
I do. I put my stones in there and I just let them get really, really hot because your pizza will cook really fast. It'll cook like in 8 to 10 minutes. So
the next thing that you need is tapioca flour. You have to use tapioca. I originally thought you could use cornstarch, but apparently it's not stretchy enough if you do that. So this is 4 tablespoons. And you want to make sure that you really blend it because if you just try to stir it in, it gets clumpy. And then when you heat it up, it's just going to have like random clumps. So make sure that you blend it. And then this is nutritional yeast, and this is what actually makes it really cheesy.
1 tablespoon nutritional yeast flakes.
And
Laura used to do classes with me, and she always was doing the dishes, so I'll do your dishes.
Okay. And then the next ingredient is miso paste, and this makes it kind of salty, but what's that flavor? It's like umami or something.
Umami flavor.
And this is about a tablespoon. So that's actually just fermented soybeans.
And if you want to get it, they also have it in chickpea. Did you know they have chickpea miso?
Yeah.
So if you're allergic to soy, you could do chickpea miso too.
And then 2 cloves of garlic. And I don't think lemon juice is on the recipe, but you can use it if you want it like a little extra tart. So I'll just put like a tablespoon.
Or you could use vinegar too, just a teaspoon or a tablespoon, however tart you want it.
Okay. And then a little bit of salt. So that's
I put
teaspoon.
about a half a teaspoon of sea salt in it,
Yeah.
or not if you're on a salt-free diet.
But cheese is really salty, so it's kind of what
You
makes
want
it
this?
taste really
Did it come
cheesy.
out?
Yeah, it's out.
So I'll stick it in the blender. I have my Vitamix today, which is really nice for cashews. Go ahead and turn this on. If you don't have a Vitamix, you can soak your cashews. That'll help them to break up a little easier.
So then what you're going to do is you're going to start to heat it up. You're going to put it on high for, I don't know, maybe like 30 seconds until it kind of bubbles, and then put it on medium-low and just keep stirring it around, and that's what makes it really thick. The heat and the tapioca flour is what kind of thickens it. So that'll just take like 5 minutes or so.
Do you remember when when you were kids, we used to make Play-Doh?
Yeah.
This makes me think of Play-Doh. It makes me think that, because it gets a little bit chunky, it doesn't come together like if you were using cornstarch. Tapioca starch is a little bit chunkier. You might want to
Is this one?
Yeah, that one might be easier.
And you have to keep stirring it or else it'll stick really fast. So just keep it moving. And it thickens really quickly. So just don't walk away from it.
It's starting to get a little bit lumpy.
Yeah.
If you want a looser mozzarella cheese, you could probably cut back on the tapioca starch by maybe a half of a tablespoon. It'll be a little bit looser. This is a pretty tight and thick mozzarella. Is your stove still? No, it's on.
Yeah.
It's hard to see the flame. This is a nice cheese sauce because it gets so thick that you can smear it on bread, and you can put it in the, I put mine in the panini press, and we do toasted cheese sandwiches with little bits of tomato on top. This makes a really nice toasted cheese sandwich.
And then another thing I've done before is you don't have to heat it up if you want to make mac and cheese. You can just pour it over in a casserole dish over the pasta and then put it in the oven, and it'll just thicken up on its own. So that's also really good.
You know why it's fun to do this with you?
Why?
Because Laura's a recent college graduate. She's a registered nurse, actually. But she thinks about food a little differently than I do. She's always trying to save a little bit of money, trying to do things quickly. So you do things that I wouldn't even think to do.
Yeah, that's how I discovered the walnuts, because they only had, the cheapest option was like a half a cup of walnuts in the store. And I didn't want to spend $8 on cashews, so, but it worked. Fraction of the price.
For Christmas, she got a box of pantry items. And you had cashews and miso paste and Dijon mustard and a lot of spices. So that's always a fun gift for a college student.
Yeah.
That's coming together nicely. Yeah, there's a lot of people making this recipe online, and that's actually where I found it. And it's just a lot of fun. It's very easy to make. So while you're still stirring, I made a pizza ahead of time because I want to get it in the oven and start heating it up. So don't let me forget to take it out because it's going to cook really, really fast. And I put it on a pizza peel. I'm going to put it in the oven on the stone. You can put your parchment paper right in the oven. So while you're doing that, I'm going to make the pizza sauce. A lot of people use a marinara sauce, and you can do that. You can go get a jar of marinara sauce. It doesn't have a lot of oil or no oil in it, preferably. But I like to make pizza sauce. Pizza sauce is thicker than marinara sauce. If you're using marinara on a pizza, it can make it a little bit soggy. So we're going to use, this is such an easy recipe. It's so much cheaper than buying marinara. We're going to use a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. And I like this brand. That's why I got it to show you, because it doesn't have any salt added to it. It's really nice. And then I'm going to add a can of tomato paste. And if you can, I don't know if this one is salt-free. It's pretty low, but. And then it calls for a couple of tablespoons of Italian seasoning. Is it coming together?
Yeah.
Good. And then I put a little bit of coconut sugar in it, just a teaspoon. Because I like my pizza sauce to have a little bit of sweetness to it. You could probably use a date if you wanted to.
Use maple syrup too.
Maple syrup. This is onion powder and garlic powder, about a teaspoon of each. Because I put onion powder in everything. A little bit of sea salt. And then I think that's it. See if I missed anything. Yep, that's it. That's all it is. And I just mix it up. And I think this is so much nicer on pizza. Oh, now it's coming together. Yeah. And the nice thing about this is it kind of melts when you cook it. You could probably turn that off now because we'll let it thicken in the oven a bit. So this is the consistency that you want for pizza sauce. And the nice thing about this recipe is if you prepped everything like what I did and you're ready to make pizza and you have leftovers, you can just put it in baggies, put it in one big gallon baggie, and make pizza again the next night. I had leftover dough, so I'm sticking my dough in freezer bags, and I'm going to freeze it so that I can have pizza whenever I want. I understand that there's been a run on yeast right now and white flour, or wheat flour and white flour, so it's kind of hard to get. But I'm going to stick that in the freezer. That's done? Ooh, that's nice.
Stretchy.
You want to taste it? You got to taste it. See if it's good.
Yeah, that's really good.
You know, I like that with the lemon juice in it. That was good. All right, so now we're going to make our pizza. Because we've got our cheese, we've got our veggies, and I've got my pizza sauce, so we are good to go. So I build pizza on parchment paper. And we need some flour, so I've got flour right here. And I thought I would tell you a little bit. Some people get confused because I put on the ingredients that it was white wheat flour. It's not white flour. It's a type of wheat. It's a little bit softer. It's a little bit lighter, but it's definitely not white flour. So I would share that with you. All right, so you want the bigger one or the smaller one?
I'll take the small one.
Small one?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, you know, when the kids were little, we used to have pizza parties, and they used to have their little balls. And the other thing you can do is you can use pitas. Nelson and I made this the other night, and we used pita pizzas, and that was nice too. If you can't find yeast and flour, you can certainly go that route. There's a lot of also pizza crusts on the market. Just make sure you read the ingredients because the cauliflower pizza usually has a lot of cheese in it. Have you ever had a cauliflower pizza?
I've had it, but it was one of the frozen ones, and it was super oily and greasy, so.
Trader Joe's carries a cauliflower pizza. Do you want this?
Yeah.
Oh, carries a cauliflower pizza that is, it's pretty good. It has a little bit of oil in it, but not very much. All right, so the thinner, the better. You want it kind of crispy. If it's thicker, you almost want to turn your oven down a little bit. If you have a really thick pizza, because you want it to cook on the inside. If it's really thick and you put it in that hot oven, it'll get crispy on the outside, but it won't cook on the inside.
Kim?
Yeah.
Vicky wants to know for the stretchy vegan cheese, what can be substituted for miso paste?
I don't usually use miso when I make cheese.
See, she doesn't have some of those expensive ingredients.
Yeah, I don't like to spend money on it.
I think it would taste okay without the miso. The miso is just an added layer.
I just use salt because really the miso just makes it salty. So.
Or soy sauce. You could use a little bit of soy sauce, maybe.
Yeah, it
Tamari
it tastes good without it too.
Hold the sauce on the side.
Hold it on the side.
So I tend to put a lot of sauce on my pizza because Nelson always wants more sauce. But you don't want to put so much on that it doesn't cook through. So I'm going to start out by putting mushrooms. So what was your question earlier? You asked me about...
Oh no, I was just saying usually when I make pizza, I'll like stir fry the onions and the peppers and the mushrooms first because then you can kind of season them and they're softer after you cook it because the pizza usually cooks really fast and sometimes the onions don't get cooked completely. So I like to do it before I put it on the pizza.
That's what a hot oven will do. It does
well, I
help
don't
that.
usually use the hot oven.
Yeah.
So.
But she's right. If your oven's not super hot, you may want to actually cook some of it ahead of time. I've done it both ways. This is just the easiest way I know how. Let me just check while you're working on that. Check over here.
Hey, Kim,
Yeah.
did you use lemon juice? Joy is asking about that. She said it wasn't on her ingredient list.
She burnt the pizza. You don't have to use lemon juice.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah.
No. So I burnt the pizza because I wasn't actually going to do that. I made the pizza beforehand, so I have two beautiful pizzas to show you tonight, but I wanted to have a hot one, so I'm not. Nelson's probably having a lot of fun with this because
Well, she's an incredibly creative chef, but she has a tendency to forget things are in the oven.
it doesn't take long. See, that's the thing. This was a good example. It doesn't take long. But you can see it gets really bubbly around the edges. But I have some good ones that are fine. Good thing that was plan B. So, all right. So then we're going to finish the toppings.
So what was the amount of lemon juice that you used, Kim?
It's about a teaspoon, wasn't it?
1 teaspoon?
About a teaspoon.
Yeah.
And Candace is asking that the flour is white whole wheat flour, which is a kind of whole wheat flour.
Yes.
It's not the refined white flour.
Not refined white flour at all. Right. Well, that was the first time that I have ever burned anything in a cooking class. So, but that's the thing about that oven. You just have to be really careful. I'm going to put fresh basil on it too. You can put pineapple on it. I understand a lot of people aren't crazy about pineapple on pizza, but I love the sweet on it. So we'll go ahead and put this one in. Well, I got to put cheese sauce on it. Mm-hmm. Hand me that cheese sauce on it. So it's kind of, it's kind of loose. It can be really, really thick or it can be really loose. I told Laura to stop cooking it before it got too thick. So that's about the consistency you'd want. I'm going to grab the pan. Bring it over here. And the nice thing about this cheese, it will actually get brown and bubbly. And I'll show you the good pizza here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and stick this in really quick. Maybe this will finish before we finish. So I have something here called a pizza peel. And I love this because what it does is it slides right on the pizza peel. And then you can slide it right in the oven.
You forgot the...
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. While it's cooking, I can talk about it, and maybe I won't burn this one.
Okay.
Do you want to put yours on the bottom shelf in the oven? I had a cast iron pan, so Laura's going to put hers on the cast iron pan. You see it? Perfect. Thank you. Just makes it really, really easy with a pizza peel. So I got these and went ahead and soaked them. They're soy curls. So if you don't know what soy curls are, you don't know what you're missing. They're made with 100% soybeans. You have to order them online. Have you ordered these? Mm-mm. No. They're 100% non-GMO organic soybeans, and you soak them, and then they become the consistency of almost like chicken, which is really nice. Put it underneath the camera. I also have a pepperoni seasoning that I make, and I put it in a spice grinder, or you could put it in a coffee grinder, but it's made with mustard, black pepper, fennel seeds, smoked paprika, red pepper flakes, sea salt, garlic, onion powder, and coconut sugar. And I put the recipe link in your recipe, but this is just a really nice, smell it?
Yeah, it's like pepperoni.
Yeah, it tastes just like pepperoni. It's got a little bit of a spice to it, which is really nice. But then what I would do is just put it on you could just sprinkle it right on your soy curls, and now you have something that's kind of like sausage or pepperoni. It's just that nice sort of meaty flavor to it. So, all right, let's show them the finished product. Put it right over here. And Laura, we get to taste it now. And try it. It's really nice because with a hot oven, the edges get really bubbly.
It's really good.
Does it pass the test?
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Thank you for joining us. I probably have food in my teeth. I hope that you were able to cook along with us and get your vegetables prepped. Tomorrow's show, we'll have the high resolution uploaded tomorrow afternoon, and we'll send you all the link. Thanks for joining me, Laura. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, anything for pizza.
Yeah, next week we're making sesame wraps and rolls, which will be really a simple recipe, and you'll get your recipe tomorrow. We'll see you back here next week at 6:30.